I want to welcome you here today to what we call the Old Glory Classic. And the Old Glory Classic is, I guess it's our way to try and show our appreciation to the military. We know that Fort Drum is a little backbone of this area, right? Without them, we'd be a little bit of a ghost town. But more importantly, especially over current times and over the last 5-10 years, there should just be more of a genuine approach and appreciation for past and present members in the service. And one of the reasons we wanted to do this, a little bit selfish from my point, but when I was a kid, my grandparents had an 8mm camera and they were always filming, and the last place I wanted to be is in front of the camera, but I always saluted. I would always salute the camera. And my dream was to join the Army. That's what I was going to do. Well, I did that growing up, and then I remember my senior year, and the recruiter shows up at school. And quite bluntly, I didn't have the kahunas to sign on the line. And I don't really kick myself in the butt for it, but I think that's where my appreciation comes from. You know, you hear stories of hardships, and we're going to hear some things from Bob here shortly. A lot of people go through a lot of things, a lot of bad things, but some of the stuff they go through overseas, whether it's war or whatever, it's probably bad to the 10th power. And I'm kind of glad I never experienced it. So that's why we're here today. Show appreciation and have a great time. So first off, if anybody here today needs anything, look for one of these jackets or one of those red vests, and we'll help you out. So let's get started here. Seth Mount Division Band had to leave, but let's have a round of applause for them. Good job. This week, we scheduled the Old Glory Classic for Flag Day week because there's a lot of stuff that goes on and other holidays. And not only that, it's the Army's birthday. The Army's in our backyard, so I thought it would be kind of fitting. So next up, I'd like anybody that is currently in the military or has served, please stand up. I want to introduce our CEO of Sagamore Bill Broadcasting, owner of NBC Watertown, from Augusta, Georgia. This guy is the stick, right? You're the professional golfer. Lewis, would you say a few words for us, please? Sure.
First off, let's give Mark a nice round of applause. Good job. They worked real hard on this tournament, and we do also do a tournament in conjunction with Fort Benning, Fort Moore, whichever they decide this is going to be. And we really enjoy the opportunity to associate with something that's important to the community. What's important to this community? Well, there's nothing more important than Fort Drum. A lot of important things, but Fort Drum really represents the heart and soul of this community. I get a chance to be all over the country. I get a chance to be a part of a lot of different communities and their spirit, their attitude, and I can tell you, and I can say this just as honestly as I can. The spirit of this particular, we call it the spirit of the North Country, is pretty special. A lot of times you don't really realize what a great place you have here. And for those of us who come out and walk in and see it, and see the camaraderie and the way people treat each other and how they're really just down to earth, it really is warms the soul. Warms the soul. So I just want to say from Sagamore Hill Broadcasting, which is named after the home of Teddy Roosevelt on Oyster Bay on Long Island, and I'm a Southern boy. But quite honestly, I can't tell you how much I respect and appreciate all of you. And I can't tell you how much, we have a lot of different stations. They're all small stations like NBC Watertown. We don't have one that's any better, that's more committed to the community and cares more about people like you. the more gains in this case. They really do care about what you think and what you do. It's a real privilege and honor for us to be a part of this. And I can't overemphasize how sincere I am. God's got a special place. And we're just delighted to be a part. So Bart, thank you. And thanks everybody.
Feedback for one.
A little louder. Got me to scream. How you there?
Next up, it's cliche for us to say that we couldn't do this without our sponsors. But what I would like, if you're here, whether you're playing golf or you're going to be a vendor or whatever, and if you're part of Brookfield Renewable, White's Lumber, Caskinets, or SM Partners, please stand up. I know we've got some retire. Like I said, that's frustrated to say we can't do it without you guys, but we can't. So we appreciate your involvement. We appreciate your help, and all of this goes towards us to be able to provide some resources this year. We got $10,500 that's going to be split up to the American Legions and VFWs in Watertown, Carthage, and Lowville, and then the other portion will go into the outdoor Wounded Warriors Outdoor Adventurer that's up in St. Lawrence County, which if you've never read or seen anything on that, Google that and look at that setup they have. They have an opportunity up there, I believe it's 70 or 80 acres. Bob can probably tell us when he comes up, where any military person and family can go up there. You schedule, you can stay in a cabin, you get to hunt and fish, and it's all free of charge. They do a lot of things up there to help out, and we appreciate that. So thank you, sponsor. I want to introduce Bob Giordano, Wounded Warriors Outdoor Adventures. He's going to say a few words for us and try to help us realize, you know, what we're mindful of today while we're having some fun, and why we appreciate the military.
It's gonna be hard. First off, I wanted to thank all of you guys for coming out today, girls, and supporting us. We really couldn't do it without you. We're 5013C. We're located in Chase Mills, New York. We run a campground up there that has 76 acres. Our mission is pretty simple. We take all wounded warriors, veterans, and their families fishing, hunting, four-wheeling. Anything you want to do in the outdoors, we'll do it with you, and it's totally free for you and your family. Being a military guy myself, after 26 years of retiring, we knew that you spend way too much time away from your family. So this program's a little different. It's for your entire family. And like I said, I have a great board of directors here. They're from Maine, Florida, Texas, New York. They do everything for free, and I couldn't do it without them. So thank you guys very much. I wanted to share a couple of stories with you. I retired in 2008, and people ask me why I do what I do. And I'll tell you, our first event that we had was called Hometown Hero Muskie Challenge, located in Brazier, New York. And I had about 45, 50 warriors show up to the event. And I worked with the board. We worked for months to plan it. And it was small water fishing for giant muskies. We sent everybody out there on the water. We're having a great time. And out of nowhere, a tornado touches down in Messina. And I've got all these people out in canoes and kayaks. So everyone's racing all around. It's pouring rain. It's windy. And we finally got everybody back in. We took them to a local bar there. We had hundreds of volunteers. And so I walked around to each table. And I said, listen, I tried to plan everything, but I apologize for the weather. That was one thing I couldn't control. I went to each table and I said, I hope you had a great time today, as I walked around. And I went to one table, and there were 4 soldiers there, and one young lady, also a soldier. And I said, "Did you guys have a good time today?" He said, "Sarge, we had a great time." And I said, "Well, I really hope you enjoyed it." But the young lady didn't say a word. So I looked at her and I said, "Did you have a good time today?" And she just stared at me. So then one of the guys told me, they go, "Sarge, she was in a roadside bombing and she lost all of her friends. She has not spoken to anyone in 2 years or communicated." So I looked at her and I said, I hope you had a great day." And I walked away from the table, and you know those little draw games that she took a pencil and she wrote, "I had the best time today." So of course everybody in there started crying. The occupational therapist, the physical therapist, her friends that she was with at the table. It took a small fishing event with a bunch of volunteers to break her out of her dark spot. I will tell you, she's doing awesome right now. And from that day forth, I knew what we did as a board could make big changes. So I wanted to, I could tell you 100 stories, but this will be my second one because I know you wanted golf. We have one individual that's in our program, and he's a Marine veteran from Vietnam. And he actually lost both his legs. And we got him picked up so that he could get a track chair. If you're not familiar with a track chair, it's like a wheelchair with tank tracks on the side. And it allows you the freedom to get out in the woods. So very expensive, but it opens up a whole new world for him. And he went down to Long Island to get his track chair. And they read a brief on him. They said, Corporal Vern Smithers, served in Vietnam, was injured. And I can tell you, I knew Vern for 10 years, never knew what happened to him. But he actually stepped on a bouncing Betty protecting a building and lost both his legs and spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. But out of the crowd came a lady, and she walked up to Vern and she said, "Vern, I want you to know you saved my life." And Vern said, "How did I save your life?" She said, "The building you were protecting was an orphanage, and I was in it." And she said, "Because of you and your fellow Marines, we all lived." And she said, "I was adopted by 2 American doctors, and now I'm a doctor." And he just cried his eyeballs out. Marines never cry, but it meant so much to him, and it meant so much to us. And I think it's really, really important to know where your money goes to. So if you're a veteran or you know a veteran, you're a family member, you should come up and see us, because we will do everything possible to take care of you and make sure you have a great time out there. So thanks again, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. We appreciate that. I guess that does, sort of open our eyes to the other side of things, right?
We're hoping these resources go to people that can help others. And that's why we're here. We're to help others too.
And if we can help somebody today, please raise your hand.
At the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming.